today's Cooking for One, I'm going to be showing you how to make a really easy one-pan spaghetti with some broccoli, anchovies, garlic and chilli and some delicious crispy breadcrumbs on top. You're going to love it. You're going to need some spaghetti, or you could use tagliatelle, linguine, whatever you've got really. Some chilli. I've got dried chilli flakes, but you could use some fresh chilli. Some broccoli, a couple of garlic cloves. I've got 2 nice fat garlic cloves there because I like it quite garlicky. A lemon, some bread. I've got a hunk of stale bread there, which we're going to use to make some lovely crispy breadcrumbs for the top. They're not essential, but they are delicious. Some anchovy fillets and some olive oil. First of all, I want to make some breadcrumbs out of this bread. So I'm going to do this by grating it on a normal box grater. As you can see, it's quite tough and stale, which is perfect. So just grate it on the coarse side until you've got a nice kind of rough, chunky breadcrumb. You could, of course, whiz this in a blender if you want to. Okay, so that's probably enough for me for one dish of pasta. So just set that aside until later. Now we just want to chop the broccoli and crush the garlic. So I'm just going to take a few florets off of this head of broccoli. You can use the stalk as well. That'll be enough for us. So just finely chop the stalks and roughly chop the heads. And finally, crush your garlic. When I'm crushing garlic, I like to add a sprinkle of coarse sea salt onto the garlic and then just crush it with the flat part of my knife. And this just gives it a little bit of abrasion to crush up against, and it'll give you a nice smooth paste. Okay, so now we're ready to cook. I'm going to heat up a nice big pan. It needs to be big enough to hold the spaghetti and all the other ingredients while they're cooking. And you want to add a really generous glug of olive oil. The olive oil is going to emulsify with the cooking water from the pasta and make a lovely sauce. So you do need a good glug of oil in the pan. Then we'll just go in with our garlic paste. And in with some lovely anchovies. I'm using some anchovies in oil here, so I'll just add a little bit of that oil as well because that's got loads of flavour. And I'm going to put in about 3 or 4 fillets. Okay. And also a little sprinkle of our chilli flakes. Again, if you've got a fresh chilli, that would be really nice, you can add that. Now we just want to melt the anchovies into the sauce. So you want a nice low to medium heat here. You don't want to burn that garlic. So if you haven't cooked with anchovies before and you think you don't like them, don't be afraid to use them in something like a pasta sauce or even with lamb. They don't really have an overly fishy taste. They'll just add a really nice, savoury, salty, umami flavour, which is almost undetectable. It's just a really, really tasty, rich, savoury flavour. So give it a go if you've never used it before. Anchovies are really, really cheap and they just add so much flavour to a dish like this. So you can see those anchovies have just melted away into our oil, just sizzling nicely. So now we're going to add our spaghetti, enough just for one person, and our broccoli. Now we're just going to pour in about 1 centimetre or so of water from the kettle, nice hot water, and the pasta will start to cook straight away. So use some tongs and just ease that spaghetti down into the sauce. And we're going to cook everything in one pan, so much less washing up. And you want to just bring that up to a little bubble. Okay, so you can see that the spaghetti has just softened a little bit, enough to be able to bend it into the water. So what you want to do is cook this now until the spaghetti has cooked The broccoli's nice and soft and broken down, and the water has evaporated and left you with a nice silky sauce. You won't need to add any more salt because the anchovies are really salty. And just keep an eye on it, keep it over a nice moderate heat, keep moving the spaghetti around so it doesn't stick together, keep topping it up with hot water from the kettle if it looks a bit dry and the spaghetti's not cooked yet. And within about 10 minutes, we're gonna have the most delicious spaghetti. Okay, so while the spaghetti is cooking over here, we are going to make a really delicious, crunchy, crispy breadcrumb topping called pan grattata, which is gonna go on top of our spaghetti. So I've just heated up a little bit of olive oil in this pan, and we're sprinkling in those breadcrumbs that I grated earlier. This is a great way to use up some old stale bread. So we're just going to crisp those up in the oil, and you could add some more chilli in here if you like it nice and spicy, or some herbs, or you could just use some parmesan instead if you want. This is an optional extra part of the dish. So cook those for a couple of minutes, shaking the pan every now and then until nice and crispy. So I've added a drop more water to our spaghetti here, so it's just drying out a little bit. It's not cooked just yet. You'll notice as it cooks, the broccoli gets nice and soft. And what I like to do is just use my tongs to squash it into the sauce a little bit. And that way it just coats the spaghetti really nicely once it's all cooked. So just mash that in. And you'll cook the broccoli a little bit more than you would do normally if you were just serving it as a side. And this is quite a classic Italian way to cook broccoli with spaghetti, so it becomes part of the sauce. Okay, so the pasta is pretty much cooked now, but we've still got a little bit of excess water in the pan. So I'm just gonna turn up the heat and blast it for a minute or two until the pasta is fully cooked and the sauce is just nicely coating the spaghetti, and our crispy bits are ready to go. Okay, our pasta's looking really silky and gorgeous. So just as a final touch, we're going to add some fresh lemon zest straight into the pan, about half a lemon. Make sure you don't get any of the white pithing because that will make it bitter. And then just a touch of lemon juice, just to cut through that rich olive oil. Give that one final toss together, and we're ready to serve up. And don't forget those lovely crispy breadcrumbs all over the top. So there you go, one of my absolute favourite ways to eat spaghetti. Great store cupboard recipe, uses up loads of lovely cheap ingredients. I hope you love it.